Okay, I'm up early this morning. Joe's still in bed sleeping, but we have appointments this afternoon at the doctor's office, and I still need to can my tomatoes. So, what I'm going to do is I got water boiling over here, and I'm going to place the tomatoes in there to scald them, just to remove the skin. So once they come out of the hot water, I'll put them in the sink of cold water until they can cool down where I can touch them. And then I will peel the skins and put the scraps in this bowl, and then I'll quarter the tomatoes and put in this bowl. And once I have them all quartered, then I will put them in a pot and bring them to a boil, and they'll start foaming on top. And once they start foaming, I'll just cook them for another 10 minutes or so until that foam has disappeared. Then I will ladle the tomatoes into hot jars and put them in the pressure canner and can them for 8 minutes at 5 pounds of pressure. Now I'll just leave the tomatoes in the hot water for about a minute, just long enough for the skins to soften and I can get them off easily. The way I peel the tomatoes is I start at the bottom end, right here, make a little hole, and the skin just easily peels off. You want to look at the tomato to make sure there are no bad spots and that you have all the skin off. This one looks good. And then I'm going to cut the core out. And then I'm going to slice it in half. I'm going to move over here to this bowl and just start cutting it into chunks. You can also start by, before you peel the tomato, go ahead and core it. And then the skin will just peel off from the bottom to the top. And at the top you can see I had some that wasn't quite ripe, so it's kind of hard, won't come off there. And I'll just go ahead and cut that part off. Now, there's no bad spots on this tomato. I'm going to cut it in half and then into chunks. And there you have it. And why do I do these videos? Many of you already know you have your own method of the way you can things, but I'm doing it to preserve our Appalachian ways. And the young ones in our family just don't seem to have any interest, or most of them don't have any interest in canning and preserving food, growing food, cooking. They just live busy lives, they're on the go, and they eat out a lot. But there'll come a day when they slow down and they wish they knew how to do these things. That's why I'm doing these videos. Because we, older ones, may be gone to our eternal home by the time they show any interest, and no one is around to show them how to do these things. So I'm doing the videos for that purpose. There will come a time and they can look back and see how I did it, how my mother did it, how my grandmother did it, and go from there. Now I have the tomatoes in my stock pot and they're heating up. So while they're heating up, I've also got my lids and pans and just warm water sitting here. I've got water in my pressure canner heating up. I've got water boiling in my tea kettle to put into the jars. I've washed the jars and I'll fill them with boiling water and put a towel over them to keep them hot until the tomatoes are ready to jar. I'm going to throw out the scraps, go feed the horses, and when I get back, maybe all of this will be ready to go. I think it's time for another cup of coffee. The tomatoes are now foaming on top, so they'll just need to cook for another 10 or 15 minutes and then they'll be ready to jar up. And I've got the jars with hot water and a towel over them, keeping them warm. I'm going to start heating up the water in my pressure canner now. Okay, since the tomatoes started foaming, they've been cooking for about 20 minutes. So they're good and hot, and I'm going to start ladling them into the hot jars. I don't put any salt in my tomatoes. Started doing that when my mother had heart issues and was on a salt-restricted diet. So you don't have to put salt in these, and they stay preserved for several years. I usually use mine within 2 years, but I have had them up to 4 or 5 years, and they were still good. You leave a 1/2 inch headspace in your jars. That's good. I do 1 jar at a time just to keep the jars good and hot. And you just run a knife through to get any air bubbles out. We use canned tomatoes when we have soup beans. We like to put the tomatoes in our bowl of soup beans. Now I have the jars loaded. I ended up with 2, 4, 5 quarts and 1 pint out of this batch, and I've got them in the pressure canner. You want to make sure that there's no cracks in the seal and the vent hole is open. Hold it up to the light, and as long as you can see light through the hole, you're good. And I always blow through that just to make sure there's nothing stuck in there. So I'm going to put the lid on the canner, lock it in, and I've got the temperature set on high medium, not medium high, but on the medium, but on the high side of medium. And the vent, when this starts going at a steady stream, you let it vent anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes, and then you put your pressure gauge on it. This is 5-pound pressure, so we'll do that later. I've got the temperature on the pressure canner on 6 on my stove, so that's just a little above medium. You don't want to process your jars too fast or too hot because they will cause leakage. So for me, 6 is the perfect temperature to have them on. The steam is starting to spout a little bit every once in a while, so it won't be long till it's a steady stream, and then we'll count it down for about anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. Now that it's steaming, I'm going to count it down to about 8 minutes. Okay, it's been 8 minutes venting So now I'm placing the pressure regulator on it. Now I'm just going to wait until this starts wiggling a little bit. You just want it to wiggle slowly. Once it starts, I will time this for 8 minutes. Okay, the jiggler is jiggling, so I'm going to set the timer for 8 minutes to process. Okay, 8 minutes is up. I'm going to turn the eye off and carefully move this off the eye to the back burner until the pressure releases. Never, never try to open this pot until this pressure valve is all the way down. And you let the pressure drop naturally. Do not remove this pressure gauge. So we'll just let it sit here until this vent goes down, and then we can take the tomatoes out of the canner. Okay, the vent has dropped. It's safe to take the weight off. Open the canner, and it's best to just crack it and let it slowly escape the steam before you take the jars out. So now I'm going to remove the lid completely. And remove the jars. And they will sit there and seal. Sweet smelling lemon balm. Love it.
Oh, how neat.
Scooter, what you doing? Sooner. That's a long time ago that you had Scooter, wasn't it? Is it hot enough for you today?
He's getting down in his knees. His knee joint is slipping, the vet said.
Oh.
They've got some sort of name for that. But so Ballard's bought him some joint pains or gummies that he likes for his joints. We've been giving him some pain medicine. We gave him his last one today. He's doing all right. He's like the old rest of us. He's getting old.
Well, it's cooling down a little bit, but it's still muggy, isn't it?
Yeah. It said 81 when I left the house.
81? What have you done today?
I went and bought me a new laptop. A Chromebook. Mine finally died, that old one I had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. We went up there this morning and came home, and this is the first time I've been out.
Well.
Been out on the back screened-in porch playing guitar.
Oh.
Got too hot.
Got too hot on the screen porch?
Yeah.
Well, I trimmed that holly tree behind you today. And trimmed all that ground cover. Got some weeds up in that landscape. and harvested my lemon balm and parsley. Got it drying over here on the table.
What's all that on your fork?
On the top, it's lemon balm.
Parsley?
It's lemon balm on the top of the table, and parsley in the chair. Hey y'all, it's going to get hot again this week, and I know the last video I showed how I made the peach cobbler, and I made some homemade vanilla custard to go with it, and it was so good. So with it getting hot again this week, I decided to go ahead and make another batch of the custard so we can have it as a treat and to cool off by, and thought I'd just show you how I did it, and I'll put the recipe in the description below this video. This is a delicious, easy custard, and I make it in a Cuisinart 2-quart ice cream maker, electric ice cream maker, and it just takes 15 or 20 minutes for it to make the ice cream. But you have to make the solution, the ice cream, actually the day before you're going to make the ice cream in the ice cream maker. So today I'm going to get the ingredients together, and I've got a makeshift double boiler. I'll say it here right in a minute. You need a double boiler. You don't want to stir this ice cream mixture over the direct heat, so I've just made a makeshift. This is a pot that I had that the handle had broken off. I put some water in the bottom, and this pot just sits on top really nice. So that's what we're going to be using. So we're going to start off with put 2 cups of whole milk in this pot. And then I'm going to add 3 egg yolks. I'll scrape all of that out. One of them broke on me when I was separating them. Okay. And I'm going to just stir this together. I think I really need a whisk to break those egg yolks up. Okay. And you want to get all the ingredients in here before the pot actually gets really hot and starts cooking. So you just mix the eggs up good in with the milk, and you add 1 cup of sugar, granulated sugar. I've got 2 cameras going on here if you wonder why I'm looking in different places. I bought a GoPro, so hopefully my quality of the videos will be better. The color will be better and clearer, but I'm still learning how to use it. So this is a test run on the GoPro, but I have my cell phone going too, just in case it doesn't work out. So I've got in a cup of sugar, and then stir that up, and I'm going to add in 1/8 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and stir that in good. You want to stir this good to get all those lumps out of the flour. Get it off the side. Okay. And 1/4 teaspoon of salt goes in. And we're just going to continue to stir this until it starts to thicken up. And once it thickens up, I will add a tablespoon of vanilla. Now you can add, use vanilla flavoring, vanilla extract. You can use the vanilla bean, the pod and all, but if you use that, just split the pod open and scrape out the seeds and put in here, and put the pod in too, because there's a lot of flavor in that pod. that before you refrigerate it, take the pot out. So you can also use vanilla bean paste. So I'll keep stirring until this thickens up, and I'll be back with you. Okay, I have been stirring this constantly over medium-high heat, and it's been about 15 minutes. It varies. Last time it only took 12 minutes for it to get thick, and this time it took about 15. So the way you test it to make sure it's thick enough is to pull your spoon out and run a line, and if that line doesn't run back together, then it's ready. So this one is ready now. I'm going to remove it from the heat. Here. Okay. And I'm going to add in a tablespoon, the recipe said a tablespoon of vanilla. I thought it needed a little more vanilla. I used vanilla extract last time I made it, and I felt like it needed just a little bit more vanilla taste. So this time I found in my cabinet pure vanilla bean paste with seeds. I'll show it in the camera. So I'm going to use that this time, and I'm going to use just a little more than a tablespoon. It's 1 tablespoon, and just a little bit more. And this is all it is, and I'm going to find a container with a top lid to put this in and let it sit here and cool with the lid off. And once it's cooled, I'll put it in the refrigerator. And tomorrow, when we're ready to make the ice cream, I'll be back to show you that process. Okay, this is 2 days after I made the ice cream mix. We were too stuffed from supper last night for ice cream, weren't we?
That's correct.
So we decided to wait till tonight. So tonight I had tomato soup for supper, and Joe had
Fried fatback.
He had fried fatback.
And cornbread.
And cornbread.
And potatoes.
And fried potatoes and onions.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to make that ice cream tonight in the Cuisinart maker, and I wanted to show you the ice cream maker. It's the ice cream maker, and it's a Cuisinart 2-quart. This is the bowl, and I just took it out of the freezer. This is the paddle, and it goes down inside the bowl like this, and then you put the cover on it, and it twists to lock it in. We're going to turn it on, and then Joe's going to pour this ice cream mixture in the top.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Pour it all in there. You pour it while the ice cream maker is running. And he's got a rubber spatula so he can scrape all of that out of the bowl. Okay, he's got the ice cream in, and now we're going to top it off with 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. This is a quart container, and I've already used half of it the last time I made ice cream, so there should be 2 cups left in it. And you don't want to fill it all the way to the top, because as the ice cream freezes, it will expand. So you can see there's a little bit of space left between the bottom of the top of the paddle. So in 15 to 20 minutes we'll have some homemade vanilla custard. Okay, the ice cream is ready, and it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm going to shut it off, and Joe's going to do a taste test on it. You have to talk loud because the camera's way over there and you're going to have to
Okay.
talk loud to pick it up. Go ahead and taste it.
Well, I'll taste the ice cream now. Let's see what we got going on. All right. The
Turn
mouth.
around and look at the camera.
Okay. Hey. That's delicious.
It's got enough vanilla flavoring to it.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to try it?
Give me a spoon and try it. Oh, I love that consistency. Look. That's good soft serve ice cream. I wanted to show you how it really came up to the top and it was starting to fill in here around the edges. But this is delicious. I hope you all try it. I'm out here in the field searching for bees' nests. Skipper got stung again on the ear and it's swollen it pretty bad. This is the second day and it has gone down some today. But so far all I'm finding are these pretty monarch butterflies. Joe is driving the fence line up there at the upper pasture to see if he sees any bees flying around. Now behind the garden area in the grass, there's all of these little black bees just hovering over the ground. They're not aggressive. I don't know what kind they are, but they're all over the place. About out of this spray, and it's my last can.